Okay, team, welcome. Man, it's so fun to see some smiling faces. Do me a favor, if you would, if you are able to turn on your cameras, I would love to see you. We're going to be interactive here today. Please be ready to use the chat. Please be ready to certainly answer some survey questions. We're going to have a few surveys today. Keep it interactive. But hey, we are going to get real today. We're going to dig into some of this NAR stuff. Not much, but we're going to tell the truth about it. And at the end of the day, I definitely want to start this by saying, hey, we love realtors. Realtors are super important. They're still going to be a massive part of our business. But guys, I think we'd be silly to not just realize we have got to work some other sources. I am going to give you 3 solid other sources today and how to work them. So you might say, gosh, Bernie, for you that don't know me, you might be like, okay, what are you talking about, man? Who are you? So guys, I run a very, very large mortgage group. I was a top producing loan officer here for a long, long time. I'm a national coach. I've been coached by the core training, level 3 student. I've been coached at Go Growth Only Coaching. Big believer in coaching. Right now, I think growth only coaching is really, really good, right? I've got no affiliation there whatsoever, but if you look them up, I might have Gerardo put in the chat how to follow them, maybe how to follow Amir or Justin. You can put that in the chat. They give awesome free stuff away that I really, really enjoy. But guys, where I want to start a little bit, this time of year right now where we're at is just with our mindsets, okay? For all of us in the business, right? I think everybody was kind of thinking rates were going to go down by now. They really haven't come down. Okay, whatever. I just want you to take some good active steps to get ready every day to execute the kind of plans I'm about to give you. Okay. Some of that is number one, like don't capitulate. Like what's capitulation? Capitulation is giving up after you've worked and almost got to the top of the mountain, right? And then you turn around, you walk back when you almost were there, right? Guys, let's not do that. Know you're doing the right things. Keep that going. So what do I do in times like this to kind of double down on just mindset efforts? Number one, I get up earlier. I get up every day a little bit earlier. So now instead of 5 a.m., I'm getting up at 4:30 or 4:45. Okay. What am I doing with that time? I am putting good stuff in my brain. Okay. I'm reading some kind of business personal development book, right? I've got a bunch of them. All great stuff. There's my compound effect. One of my favorite guys, Darren Hardy, Compound Effect. Amazing. I reread this book every year. Podcast guys are fantastic. Journaling out something you're thinking about, like, man, I want to attack this real estate group. I'm going to journal that out. You got to every day. You listen to news, you get out there, your mind gets filled with kind of like dirty water, right? You got to clean it out. You got to put good stuff in your brain every day, right? And then last but not least, I'm a big believer in some kind of workout, some kind of working out in the morning, okay? Guys, we've got to relieve that stress, okay? Workout, whether you're moving some weights, doing some yoga, running, doesn't have to be marathon training, right? But all of that gets the blood flowing. It is just tested, proven that it helps you with stress. Now, boom, you're there, you're ready to start your day, and everything is going to be better, and you can execute this plan. Okay, Bernie, give me this stuff. Guys, I'm going to put a little survey up. I'm going to ask Natalie to put a survey up, and what I want you to do here is I want you to tell me just which one of these that you most believe in could be an effect from this NAR lawsuit. Now, you might think all of them are going to be in effect. All right, Natalie, I lost a poll there. I'm not sure what happened. You might think all of them could be in effect. I'll try to take that down. Okay. But some of this is true. All right, so Natalie, I lost the poll on my screen. Marquez, are you seeing the poll?
Which one? There's several of them that I'm looking at in the chat, Bernie.
So I'm not seeing. Okay, so guys, the one that I want up there is, there you go. NAR lawsuit How will the NAR lawsuit affect realtors? Okay, so in the chat, if it's not popped in your screen, please go to the chat. Maybe you think there's no change. Maybe there's going to be less realtors. Maybe realtors are going to get paid less. And then obviously I'm just playing with you. If you don't know what the NAR lawsuit is, call me later and I will explain how this may affect your life. Okay, I've only got 11 participants. Guys, let's get to 20. Go into the chat, pick one. Let's get to 20. Want to keep everybody rolling here. But to 14, a lot of folks think there's going to be less realtors. All right, we got Tom, Lindsay, more people. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, we're getting there. I'm at 18. Give me two more. Two more people answer my poll. One more person. I need one more. Love it. We're there. Okay. I love that one person thinks there's going to be no change. Guys, that's fair. Like right now, I would tell you there's really no change because nothing's happened, right? Okay. So, G, why don't you put my my slideshow up for me? So, guys, I think the NAR lawsuit is real. And my whole presentation is based on some of these facts. This is going to affect the way lenders and realtors work moving forward, okay? So therefore, how are we going to adjust? Okay, so number one, G, roll the first one in there. I would tell you that with this NAR lawsuit, okay, here's one thing I know. And I've talked to some big people at associations of realtors, okay? There will be no pre-disclosure of buyer agent commission. And I'm not just talking about the MLS, guys. I'm talking about that everybody, these agents are saying, oh, we're going to put it in the notes in our website, or, oh, we're going to say it's a buyer-friendly listing. Guys, that's all BS. There's no way the Department of Justice is going to let that happen. And even my smart people at associations of realtors are now telling me, yeah, that's probably not what's going to happen. Okay. Now, knowing that there's going to be some big changes, that means some sellers may not pay buyers at all. So now where are my buyers going to get that commission? All right. We'll talk about that. Okay. All right. Next one, G. What does Bernie think? I think real estate commissions absolutely will go down 20 to 30%. Now, guys, I take some of this from the old lender, TRID, or whatever we went through back in the day, 2008, 2009, 2010, okay? Few bad apples really made the regulators and everybody pay attention, and everything changed. And absolutely, in general, compensation decreased across the board. Now, we've adjusted as lenders, figured that out. We still make a great living, but I think this is going to affect realtors. Okay, G, what else does Bernie think? I think for sure we're going to lose 20% of our realtors, probably more. Now, a lot of places out there are predicting way more than that, okay? We all know some of this might be good, and it might be good for our agents. We get some of the folks that really aren't in it out of it. But for us bankers that count on realtors, and guys, again, I love realtors, okay? But if there's less of them, there's less to call on, and therefore we got to do better at adding value to our realtors, right? Okay, G, what else does Bernie think is going to happen? Absolutely, first-time buyers, guys, are not going to be able to maybe afford representation or won't be represented, which means we have an opportunity. I think we have an opportunity to do more. How do we get to them faster, right? I think that's really, really important. And then there's some risk out there. What is the other thing, G, what do you think that Bernie also thinks is pretty important? Okay, guys, I've been talking to years that Zillow is going to replace realtors. So guess what? All of these technology platforms, all of them, are going to be coming up with easy ways for a buyer to write their contract for $500 through Zillow or Homes.com. Low price solution will help you buy your house. You don't need a buyer's agent. Just come here to Homes.com. We'll figure that out. You mark my words, that's going to happen, right? That's going to happen. So these are all things that I think are going to happen, which means, okay, we've got to find clients at the top of the funnel in a whole bunch of different ways. Now, some of these ways are old school. Some of them are new. But big picture, they just require different kinds of work. And most of these ways that I'm talking about, there's not other loan officer competition. Other LOs are not finding, okay, they're not finding clients with these techniques. Okay. All right. So G, why don't you take down our show? Okay. And I'm going to go into my first kind of story / tactic. So guys, when I first got in the home loan business, I did all that normal stuff. Man, I was working with realtors. Okay. I was crushing it. But I started calling on other banks. Okay. Now, you might say, well, gosh, Bernie, what does that mean? Any bank out there in your area, branch bank, big bank, little bank, credit union, etc. Okay. So I walked in to a couple banks, started asking questions, and I'm going to go through my exact scripting so you have this. Okay. And lo and behold, in my third year in the business, I was running the mortgage business, the entire home loan business for 3 of the banks here in the Chicagoland area. Okay. Now, unfortunately, due to the crises of 08 and 09, those banks no longer exist, which is pretty funny. But one of them was a bank called First Midwest Bank, Midwest Bank and Trust. There's also a First Midwest Bank. I'll get to that. One of them was Suburban Bank and Trust. Okay. And one of them was Bridgeview Bank Group. Okay. That was real. I did a whole bunch of loans there. So what I'm challenging you to do is, without any predisposition, right now, all y'all are sitting there thinking, wow, I know this bank does this and I know this bank does that. Okay. Well, did you know 15 years ago, over 60% of the home loans in America were originated by big banks, the bigger banks, right? Now, I want you guys to put in the chat, what do you think the percentage of home loans in America that are originated by the bigger banks? Just throw in the chat. Take a shot. Take a swag. How many of the bigger banks originate home loans? Or any bank? Federally chartered bank. All right, so Christine's staying with 60. Dalio's down 20% for them, 10%, 25, 20, 25. Patrick, Shannon 80. I love it. Angel 10. The Angel's got insider information. He's the worst. Guys, it's less than 30%. Over 70% of the home loans originated in America are originated by mortgage bankers or mortgage brokers. Okay. Or companies like the Federal Savings Bank here. We are basically a mortgage banker, even though we're a federal bank. So we don't count, right? So therefore, many banks have pulled back out of that business big time. Okay. So guys, when you roll in to a bank, okay, and you follow my tactic. Now, here's the funny part. Bernie over here, executive, non-loan officer anymore. I was in a bank today at 9:30 in the morning. Okay. I met with my guy, Dan Burke, here at Byline Bank. Dan Burke runs consumer lending at Byline Bank. Now, in a second, I'm going to tell you why I met with him and how I ended up getting in front of him. Okay. So, guys, everything I'm telling you, I've done, I still do, because now I'll take a couple of my LOs and I'll plug them into my guy, Dan Burke here. Okay. So, here's what you're going to find out when you call on some of these banks. Number one, you're going to go in, you're going to run my scripting, and you're going to find out that they don't do home loans at all. They thought it was too risky, or the compliance got too much, and they stopped doing residential mortgages, period. Now, that sounds crazy, but let me give you one example. Byline Bank here in the Chicago market is the third largest Chicago-based bank behind, I think, BMO Harris and Wintrust. Okay? Byline Bank does not do first mortgage home loans at all. Now, I guarantee you, of the 80,000 loan originators in Chicago, not one of them has ever walked into a Byline bank to find out. How ridiculous is that? Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. Number two, you will find out that if they do home loans, there's some pretty huge gaps in their product set. For example, most credit unions or many credit unions, how many of you are in the market where there are a few credit unions? If you're in a market where there are some credit unions, I want you to put the name of the credit union in the chat. I know there's a couple folks on here that work for a credit union, which is cool. Some credit unions do all kinds of stuff, right? SECU, Nextmark, BCU, Navy Federal, Global Credit Union, right? Oh yeah, some of you guys got 5 or 6 for me. I love it. Okay. So number one, credit unions, many of them don't even do government loans. They don't even do Ginnie loans, VA or FHA. What? So here in Chicago, back in my day, Patrolmen's Credit Union, which is where all the police officers basically bank, they didn't do VA loans. Where do you think I got all my VA loans? What percentage of police officers do you think are veterans? A lot, 40%, right? So you got to go find this stuff out. Another thing that's interesting with a lot of banks like credit unions, they have a footprint, a lending footprint that is limited. They don't lend in every single state. Okay? Many of you are licensed. If you work for a mortgage banker, you might be licensed in several states, right? If you work at a bank like mine, the Federal Savings Bank, we're licensed in every state. So in other words, you can build that relationship, and when they get somebody that's relocating out of state, they can't help them anyway. Okay. Number three is they probably have some pretty strict overlays. Okay. So for example, most banks and credit unions, their minimum credit score is something like 680, right? I would tell you, for most of us correspondent lenders, last month, probably half the loans we funded have credit scores lower than 680, right? So they have limitations, right? Okay. So Bernie, how does this work? What do I do? What do I say? How does this scripting work? Here's what I want you to do. Now, when you guys at the end of this, all right, I'm going to ask for some follows on social media. Okay. Many of you follow me already. If you follow me on social, you're going to get a copy of all these scripts, and you're going to get a copy of my little masterclass here. Okay. So you'll know how to do all this stuff. So what you do, very simple. You walk into the bank. It's a public place, right? You walk in, right? And you say, hey, I do business here in Biloxi, Mississippi, wherever. I'm interested in the bank products. Hey, is the branch manager here? The branch manager. Okay. Guys, do you think that branch manager is busy right now? No, the branch manager is not busy, right? Less and less people are moving into banks. Jessica, I'll answer your question in a second. Okay. I'm going to roll through here, but I'm going to take some questions at the end. So keep your hand up. I love it. Okay. So we want to find the branch manager. Now, ironically, let's say they're not there. If you go, gosh, can I set an appointment with the branch manager? You know what they're going to say? Yeah, that'd be great. She'd love to have an appointment with you. They are trying to get business from outside people, right? I love that. Okay. Then when you get with the branch manager, is it about you or is it about them? No, this is sales. It's about them, right? Hey, branch manager, gosh, how long have you worked here? Where'd you grow up? What about your kids? This is great. Hey, tell me about your main products. What do you do for businesses? What do you do for people? What kind of good products do you have? What's your most popular product, right? Learn a whole bunch of stuff about them. Again, this takes 15 minutes, guys. I don't want you to be there for 3 hours, right? And then eventually they're going to ask about you and your business. Hey, I help a lot of families here locally. I am a home lender. Do you do home loans? You're just going to ask them point blank. Do you do home loans? Right? Now, if they say yes, you say, great. Wow. Do you have any flyers? I'd love to know what you guys do, because maybe there's things that you do that I can't, or there's things that I can do that maybe you can't. Right? Now, they might say, well, we have some loan officers here. Fabulous. I want to meet your loan. Oh, you got a loan officer here? Gosh, I'd love to meet them. That'd be great. That'd really help me understand what you guys do, right, versus what I do. Why not, right? I want to know their guidelines because I know they're strict. So again, their answer either is, we don't do home loans at all, or, yeah, we do home loans, but I send that out to my loan officer that's in Oswego, or, hey, I've got a loan officer here. Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Either way, you find out what they do, what they don't do. You find out their guidelines. You find out where their gaps are. I guarantee you, every person on this call can do more than they can do, period. Because we are more flexible. We all have all these investors, right? But those banks, they don't. They don't really care about home loans. So branch managers get paid, they get bonused, and they get penalized. What's the number one thing, number one factor they get bonused for? Somebody put in the chat. It's not referrals. It's not opening checking accounts. There's one critical factor that they get bonus for. It's not loans. I want them to refer them loans to me. It's not really deposits. That's not terrible. Okay, Cheyenne, you're close. Cheyenne, you're close. It's customer service. They want awesome surveys. They want happy customers. And when they get a customer that walks out dissatisfied, if they get a bad review, it changes everything, right? That's really bad for them. So therefore, if you can help one of their clients that they couldn't help, so instead of them getting a turn down and saying, oh gosh, you applied for your loan and yeah, your credit's only 679, we can't help you, they can now refer them to me. I'll take great care of them. I'll pump up the branch manager. And when they walk in next week, they're going to go, oh man, Bernie's great. He's helping us. I love him. And I didn't take any business from them. It's business they either don't do or can't do. Okay. So I walked in to meet my guy Dan today at Byline Bank. He runs consumer lending. So I asked for that introduction. They said, oh, we'd love to have you meet Dan. Now, I want to offer something to Dan, right? So home equity loans. We really don't do home equity loans, or I don't care, right? I can't really get paid a bunch on home equity loans. I'm happy to refer Byline Bank on my home equity loans. So now I asked Dan, hey, give me an idea what your guidelines are on your home equity loan. Well, guess what? 45% DTI, 75% LTV, and 680 credit score. It was 710. They just moved down to 680. Okay, so now a client rolls into Dan's bank. They need cash out 200 grand to put their kids through college, and their credit score is 750, but their back end ratio is 46%. Or maybe their credit score is 679. Okay, now he can refer that to me instead of turning them down. I do a cash out refinance, because even if their first mortgage is at a low rate, it's probably a really low balance. They need all this money. I used to get a boatload of loans. I used to have one loan officer that covered all these banks just on their home equity line turndowns, guys. Okay, so at the end of the day, other banks, I challenge you in the next 2 weeks, walk into 10 bank branches. Guys, no other loan officers doing this. You're not going to get rejected, and just figure it out, right? And then the other beauty of it is when you find a branch manager that wants to help you do business, you can help them and you guys get it together. You open an account. You go to the teller, you open a $100 savings account. Now you're a client, right? Now you're one of their clients. You're in there. Guys, I used to have small accounts at like 7 local banks. And then I could walk in all the branches whenever I want. And then the beauty is when you find one branch and you find their weaknesses, you could go to 5, 6 other branches and call on all those other branches. So of course you would add these to a consistent call list, just like you do your realtors. And you will get referrals. And those referrals could absolutely end up with realtors, because if there are people that need to buy, you're going to be able to place them with your agents. Okay, that is channel number 1. Other banks. I'm going to keep going. Man, I got a lot. Okay. Let's see. Channel number 2. So, Natalie, I think we have another poll. So, guys, watch the chat here. There's another poll coming up. Channel number 2 is for sale by owner. Now, you old school people, don't roll your eyes, because this is all changing. It's all different. So I want to know why you think the number 1 reason why a seller might choose in this market to sell their home by owner. All right. So again, I'm looking for 20 responses. Let's get there. There we go. Keep it going. Boom, 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 boom. All right. We got there fast. Thank you, guys. Way to go. Okay. So by far, I think all y'all get it, right? Our home value is going to go down. Are buyers or sellers suddenly going to just sell their home for less? No, that's never happened in the history of sellers. They want to make the most money they can from selling their home. Don't you? You've been making those payments for 15 years. You want to earn it. So I get it. But because it's a seller's market, there ain't a lot of signs in yards right now, team. Because the press is crushing realtors, right? What's the press saying about realtors right now? Woo, right? They cheated America. They've been in collusion all these years. You really don't need to pay them. They fixed commissions. They're greedy. Yep, Erica, you're right on. Right? So now I empathize with our realtors. I feel bad, right? I lived through 2008, 2009 when everybody's beating up lenders. But at the end of the day, media right now is way more powerful than it was 15 years ago. And this absolutely is going to cause more people to sell by owner. Sell by owner. Okay. So now you're like, well, Bernie, that's great, man. How does that help me as a lender? Okay. So guys, back in my day, I used to call on for sale by owners for different reasons, though. So my one point is there will be more people that sell by owner. Believe it. That is going to happen for sure. Okay, for these reasons. So start watching for it. Watch for those signs in yards. Okay, that's going to happen. So when that happens, though, the other phenomenon is that there's going to be more buyers that go right to that owner by owner, unrepresented. Unrepresented. They don't have a realtor. They're not pre-approved, but they like the house. And we're going to go right to the owner and try to buy it. That's, guys, that's our opportunity. Okay. That's our opportunity. See, Raymond, he's a smart man. He knows what's going on. So what we're going to do, gosh, Bernie, what should I do? How do I do this? Okay. You're going to go knock on the door on a Saturday. You're going to knock on the door. Now, it's key. You're going to start with number 1. Hey, guys, I live in the neighborhood. I live in the neighborhood. Okay. Guys, last weekend, I had a lady knock on my door on a Saturday. Okay. I just got done working out, came back, having breakfast, get a knock on the door. Well, it's kind of weird these days, right? People don't knock on our door. Okay. I open the door. She says, hey, my name's Susan. Gosh, I live in the neighborhood. I live across the park. And man, I saw that you guys got a new patio, a new deck last year. Man, would you mind if I talk to your person to get a quote? As soon as she said, I live in the neighborhood, man, my guard went down. I was cool with that. She's neighbor. Okay. So you start with that. I live in the neighborhood. Right. Number two, critical. I'm not a realtor. Right? You want to make sure right away you say, I'm not a realtor, because that's what they might think. And of course, they are negative on realtors for now. Now, we might win them over later, right? But I live in the neighborhood. I'm not a realtor. And hey, I saw your for sale by owner time or by owner sign. Oh, okay, great. So listen, I think I can help. I really want to help. All right. I've done a lot of this before. I'm a lender, but I've helped some folks that are selling by owner. Okay. And hey, here's how I think I can help you, because you're going to have people. Number one, you're going to have scammers come to your for sale by owner and try to do some weird stuff. So guys, is that true? Anybody ever tried to sell by owner? Anybody ever tried to sell by owner? I have. Okay. The first thing that happens is 5 or 6 people show up, knock on the door, try to make you a cash offer that turns into a, hey, but if you would seller finance this for me, I'll pay full, right? So all these people that have went to the seminars that say buy property with no money down, they come in and they try to scam that buy owner, because of course that buy owner is not represented. They don't know what they're doing, maybe, right? So, hey, I'm in real estate. I want to help. I'll weed all those people out. Number one. Number two, because of this NAR lawsuit, you're going to have buyers that show up on your doorstep, and you're not going to know if they're approved to buy your home. Okay. Just mandate, and I'll help you with that. Just let them know, hey, I'd love to get an offer from you, but you've got to get pre-approved with my lender, with my buddy Bernie here, who's a lender. I just need to validate that you're good. Oh, well, I'm already approved with Rocket Mortgage or whatever. Oh, well, that's great for you. Then you can't buy my house. Now, you don't have to do your loan with Bernie, but he does have to validate that you're approvable. Right? Okay. And again, you can add some fear there about all the times that pre-approvals go wrong. Okay. And you're going to pre-approve every single person that tries to buy their house. Right? And then when they get a legit, and guys, that includes cash offers. Right? Somebody rolls in with the cash offer. Okay. They get referred to you. And all you have to do is, hey, I'm a banker. Okay. I have laws. I got rules. So I'm validating this. My guy, Raymond Wolf here, he's selling his home. He's my buddy. He's a seller. I'm a banker. You need to send me a bank statement that shows that you've got $650,000 cash to buy this house. If you do that, I can validate to him that you're good. We can do that. That's cool. Right? But most guys aren't going to be able to do that because they're going to be in some kind of scammer mode. Right? So, guys, what's fun then in the end, you're like, and hey, I'm not going to charge you to do this. And the reason I'm not going to charge you is the truth. Man, if you get 7 or 8 people that are trying to make an offer, I'm going to pre-approve them. And therefore, if they don't buy your home, maybe I can help them buy a different home, or I can help them get approvable. Maybe their credit's all busted up. I don't know. But that's an opportunity for me. And just that opportunity cost is why I would want to help you sell your home. Okay, guys, that makes sense. Right, guys? That makes total sense. Okay. So potentially, you could get 5 to 10 real leads of people unrepresented that are out there looking to buy a home. Because right now, guys, there's no inventory. I guarantee you when that buy owner goes on the market, there's going to be activity, right? There's going to be activity. So the other thing I like about that technique is helping somebody with an open house. Hey, I'll help you host an open house, right? Guys, you could do it. Put a sign in the yard, open house. They put it up on Zillow, no problem. And then you just sit there and you just sign everybody in, get all their information. You got a whole list of possible pre-approvals right there. You help them host an open house. That's kind of fun. I like that. Okay. Big Gerardo, Big G, why don't you put up our slide on summing up our for sale by owners so everybody can see what we're doing here, what we talked about. So G's probably sharing up here, for sale by owners. Boom. Okay. So What are we going to do? We're going to knock on the door. I live in the area. I'm not a realtor. I help other FSBO sellers. I'll protect you from scammers. I'll validate every offer, make sure they're qualified. I won't charge you because I'm going to have an opportunity here to find some more folks, right? Yeah, Patrick, there's absolutely a way to search for by owners. We can get that information to you. There's different websites that do that. If anybody knows those websites, feel free to throw them into the chat. Help us out. But there's different places. Sometimes they're local. Sometimes there's places on like a realtor.com, homes.com where they'll factor out just the by owner listings. Okay. I love that. Okay. So guys, that is number 2. Going after for sale by owners. And then guess what? Guys, 50% of those properties are overpriced. So when they're overpriced, they're not going to sell. And therefore, now that you have built trust with this seller, you can recommend the realtor you trust. And you can say, hey, it's been a month and a half. Your home hasn't sold. Would you consider a realtor? I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to sell it. You need to sell it. I have a really high trust person. I know this will work, right? And then what an amazing value. Now you've referred to your realtor. Okay. I love that. Okay. So guys, those are 2 that you probably haven't really attacked before. The last one is one that people talk about, but they don't do it the right way and they don't really get it. Okay. That is builders. Builders. Now, a lot of you have heard this. Many of you have never driven out to the suburbs or out of town to the big builders. It could be big builders, could be little builders, right? And really went in, talked to some of their salespeople. So you have a massive limiting belief about builders. And your massive limiting belief is, oh gosh, Bernie, they've got an in-house lender and they're offering all these incentives and I can never compete and I'm not going to do it. Okay. I don't care. I might not even want to do a loan with that builder. I want to get leads. I want to get more possibles. Okay. So what do we do? Now, a lot of this I've done in my market in Indiana. Indiana's got a boatload of builders and it's easy to build there. In other words, here in Illinois, for example, where I'm sitting today, it's a lot more difficult, red tape wise, government, permits, zoning to build. In a lot of America, it's not. It's easy to build. And so in Indiana, we have 3 kinds of builders. We got the big builders like Pulte. I want you to go talk to them. We've got mid-sized builders that maybe they build 30, 40 home subdivisions at a time, and they don't necessarily have an in-house lender. And then we've got some on your lot type of builders where if you don't have a construction to perm product, it'd be tough to call on them. We have that product. Some of you may not, but that's okay. There's plenty of builders to talk to. So all of these subdivisions have a model home, period, right? And in that model home, there are salespeople that are sitting there, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They sit in that model home. They wait for you guys, John Q. Public, to roll in. All right. So here's how this has worked out for me. I drive up, I park my car. It's Saturday at 10. I don't know, whatever. I don't have any flyers. I don't have any marketing stuff. I am not selling. Again, I'm exploring. I walk in, I meet these folks, and I say, hey, listen, tell me about what you're building here. Tell me about the homes. How many bedrooms, baths? How many floor plans do you got? Can I go look at a model home? And guys, I'm sorry, I'm kind of in a rush. I got to meet my family, but I wanted to jump out here and see some of this stuff. Now they might say, are you interested in buying? And you're going to tell the whole truth. No, I'm a lender. I'm a lender. But guess what? I've got a bunch of pre-approved folks and it's really tough to find existing homes. So I'm trying to look at see if I can convince them to drive 20 minutes farther out here and buy a new home. Oh, that's cool. Okay, great. And then if they have their model home, spend 15 minutes, walk through it, ask about the features. Could you upgrade this? Oh, I really like this kitchen. Wow, how many model homes have the office, right, versus the mudroom, right? So number one, guys, you kind of learn about new construction, right? I've done so much of this. I've done all kinds of home builder stuff, but you learn about how these models work, how the upgrades can work, right? And if you buy one pre-build, you could customize stuff like that. Trade out the mudroom for the office, right? That's how it works. Okay, great. Then you look at your watch and go, hey, man, Bill, nice to meet you. And give me a card. I'll give you a card. Hey, man, I'm so sorry. I got to roll. But, man, I'd love to come back out here and chat with you a little bit. Are you around? I'll call you and see when you're around next week. Great. Okay, so you go back. You don't ask him for anything. You don't sell him anything. You don't say, hey, I've got a great down payment assistance program or blah, blah, blah. Right? So that keeps them a little curious. Then you call them next week, chat up a little bit and say, hey, are you out there Friday, Saturday? What are your hours? Oh, yeah, I'm out here Friday from, noon to 6. Great. Man, if you don't mind, I want to stop back in. I've got a couple clients that are thinking about it. I've got a couple more questions. Okay, great. You go back out there, right? You sit down again. And then you kind of dig into a little bit more of, okay, number one, good question. Do you guys pay realtors? If a realtor brings in, like a lot of my buyers, right? They've got a realtor. Do you pay a commission to a realtor? The answer is yes. Almost every time they are absolutely paying a buyer's agent. Now, guess what? Our theme today is how do we work around this NAR lawsuit, right? So these builders are still able to offer compensation to buyer's agents because they're the seller, right? The seller can do whatever they want. Now, a seller's agent, seller's broker, that's different. But these builders, it can absolutely be understood. They can publish right on the freaking sign out front. We will pay a buyer's agent 2% to bring me a buyer. Well, that's pretty cool. So we'll get back to that, right? We'll get back to that. Then you want to ask about like, well, hey, like, do you guys have a preferred lender? How does that work? Well, yeah, everybody that applies, we've got to send them to the in-house Pulte lenders. So the Pulte in-house lender. Okay, cool. So do they get everybody approved? Right? So what do you guys think? In the chat, do you think that Pulte's national in-house lender approves every buyer? Yes or no? What do you think? Lindsay's giving me a no. I like that. Kayla says no. Got some no's. Okay, Tom's giving me the 95%. So, Tom, you think they approve like 95% of them? Okay, love that. Okay, so 3 or 4 years ago, I would agree with Tom that the people that apply, they're trying to figure it out. But guess what? Right now, there's no inventory. They have a lot more people trying to apply. Now, I am a lazy in-house Pulte lender. Lazy. Now, if I have any Pulte lenders on here, I'm sorry. I take it back. I'm not talking to you. Okay. So what that means is I've got 20 applications a week. I'm going to pull 20 credits. 10 of them will be above 700. And the ones that are below 700, I'm probably not working super hard on. Guys, that's what's going on. Because I've got people, specifically my Indiana market, that are doing this. And those salespeople are frustrated. Because what does a salesperson do? They spend their time. They walk people around the models. They convince them to apply. And then that salesperson comes back, oh, man, sorry, their credit's not great. Well, it turns out maybe it's a little better than you think, right? Nilamani, I love that. Validating that story. Way to go. She's out there doing it. I love it. So therefore, right now, there's a whole bunch of people. That salesperson's going to be like, yeah, right now it's just, now they might say something like, we got a lot of people applying that just don't have very good credit. Well, that's not true. I just think they're not talking to people that have credit below 700 because those in-house lenders got plenty of applications. Well, guys, what do? We grind on harder deals. We're going to figure that out. So we tell that salesperson, well, hey, I specialize for sure on tougher deals. Man, I want to help people that need help. But now my question is, okay, if I bring a buyer in here, number one, are you going to refer them to this other lender? Because if I bring you a buyer with my realtor, I want you to pay my realtor commission and I want to do the loan. And they're going to tell you, no, you're good. We're not going to do that. Okay. So you kind of challenge them a little bit, right? And then you ask, okay, great. So now they see maybe you're going to bring a buyer and you ask, okay, so let's talk about your turn downs. Man, I'd love to start looking at some of these turn downs, see if I can approve them, right? Okay. So then maybe that week you call them, you check in, and, under the table there, they send you 3 or 4 turn downs. Guys, those are leads. Those aren't turn downs. Those are people in America that want to buy a house, right? They don't have to go buy them at Pulte up there. But now you're going to call them. You're going to pump up Pulte. You're going to see what you can do. But maybe they don't buy. Maybe they're not ready. Maybe you get them in credit repair, and 3 or 4 months later, they just go buy a normal house. Now, the magic is as you convert maybe a couple. Now you're sales guy, Dave. You guys are buddies. You go, Dave, man, your lead system, obviously people hit this web page. A lot of times they're still filling out a piece of paper, right? They're filling out a piece of paper. Hey, where do you keep all those inquiries, okay, that were turn downs? Where are those at? Oh, well, they're in this database, or hey, they're in my bottom right drawer, right? So guys, I used to go in on a weekend for a couple hours with a builder, and we would together just call all of their turn downs for the last year, right? Maybe those people gave up. We would convert of 20 to 25, we'd get 3 or 4 people to re-engage us. Guys, those are leads. Turn downs for that builder are leads. Those are people that want to buy, and they're trying to figure it out. And maybe they're qualified right now. Maybe a year's gone by, they got a better job, they fixed their credit, and maybe they rented something and they haven't started looking again yet. Right? Guys, builder business isn't about doing business always with the builder. Okay? It's about working with salespeople, earning their trust, doing some tougher stuff with them. Okay? And then guess what? Eventually, you can get on their list. I've got a lender in Indy, Manu. Okay, she is on a preferred lender list for this builder. Okay, now right now, and it's published, and right now she's under the, hey, anything that our Pulte lender can't do, it goes to Manu first. Okay, that's a start, right? She will work her way up. That's how we get in with builders. I've got a lender in Florida that I know, great guy, closes 14 to 15 loans a month in this market. His entire business is Pulte turndowns. That's his whole business. He's added so much value. He just tells the truth. He works guys. He brings them back. He works them. Maybe they buy someplace else. Doesn't matter. He just gets all they don't do anything with those leads anyway, right? They're just sitting in a drawer. You're working them, converting a few. Guys, it's magic. And then the last piece that's fun, because we all still love our agents. Now every weekend I bring an agent out there. I bring a different agent, right? Hey, Jim from Remax, let's go visit this Pulte place. By the way, they will pay you commission. I just want to show it to you. I want you to start talking to your clients about maybe living 15 minutes away and buying a home out there. Ready right now, new construction, let's go, right? So now you're adding value to agents, you're active, your sales guy at Pulte is looking at you like, wow, this Bernie guy's great. He's bringing me new realtors all the time that are talking to me. Not to mention every now and then at some of these subdivisions, especially if you go to some of these 55 and older subdivisions, that's super popular right now. They're just building townhomes or patio homes for 55 and older people. with no kids, okay? All of those buyers have a home to sell, right? So your agent, if you get in there, your agent could list homes for people that are on the waiting list to get their 55 and over community townhome built. So, guys, I know I'm throwing a boatload of info and a boatload of crazy ideas at you, right? I just can't help it. I just see opportunity everywhere right now with this NAR thing, okay? I see our buyer's agent pool constricting a little bit. Therefore, we've got to implement cool other ideas to go get more leads, get more buyers and clients. And guys, all three of these things that I've shared with you today, your competitors are not doing. Your loan officer competition out there, they're just not doing it. They're not. They're doing the same old stuff. They're waiting for the rates to get better. We don't got time for that. I don't know if rates are going to get better. Who cares? People have needs trying to buy. These builders have a drawer full of turndowns. People that want to buy that somebody else couldn't figure out and you could. Okay, guys, I love it. So I want to close with a couple things. I'm going to have Gerardo in the chat put up my social media handle. Okay, so my Instagram handle, Earn with Burn. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram for some more great content like this, okay? And if you do follow, anybody on here who follows me is going to get my masterclass, okay? It's ready to go. All the scripts are in there. I'll be able to send that to you. Gerardo will send that to you. So just take your phones out now. Follow at Earn with Burn, okay? Get you that. It'll be great. And then obviously, I'm going to be doing master classes like this every 4 to 6 weeks. Anybody that ever attends, I'm always going to invite you back. I think these are valuable. I think right now I commend you all for investing in yourself. But my challenge, guys, my call to action is pick one of these and go do it. This stuff is easy. Walk into some banks. It is a safe environment. There's nobody else in there. They're dying to have you come in there, right? Erica, go ahead. You got a question. Let's go, girl.
Hey, Bert, do you with going to the for sale by owners, do you recommend that we get like a dual license, like a realtor license, to learn how to do contracts in case, a buyer needs help with a contract? What do you recommend with that? Getting like
I recommend no. I recommend no. And the reason is, Eric, is we want to honor and still work with our realtors, right?
Oh.
And if you get a real estate license, those realtors are not going to be very happy with you. They're going to see you as competition. They're going to get upset, right? So what I would do is build some great relationships with some attorneys, because especially in our state of Illinois, attorneys can absolutely write a contract. Maybe they charge them a little more fee. They have to have an attorney here anyway, right? I would get 2 or 3 attorneys that you trust that you could refer to, and then they could help write the contracts and kind of strike that deal. But I would definitely not get a real estate license, because again, you're purposely telling them I'm not a realtor, right? So it's a little disingenuous, possibly, right? Even though I get your intent, I would not get a real estate license.
Okay, thank you.
Love that. Okay, guys, anybody else out there with a question? You got Earn with Burn for 2 more minutes. I know a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if it's all true, but I will answer your question if you got one. In the chat, anyone? Okay, guys, I love it. Thank you so much for attending today. Hope you found this valuable. If you did, reach out. Tell me, okay? Hit me on Instagram. Message me. Hey, this was great. Hey, can you cover this next time? Right? I want to keep throwing out content that you guys are going to like. Okay, guys, I love it. Try these things out. Have a phenomenal rest of the month. See you next month. Take care, team. Later.